How's it going? I'm Hollis Taylor, and this is Bright Hawk. And we are offering free astrology readings or discussion or answer your questions. Maybe you're curious about what's happening in the stars right now, where you're kind of going, uh, uh. It's a year that we will never forget, that's for sure. According to Rick Levine, which is a famous astrologer, in case you don't know who he is, he's been, I don't know, but you can go look him up. He's pretty famous. um, he's been doing astrology forever, and he said that um, there's nowhere in history that he was able to find that Neptune and Saturn moved together into Aries on the world point. And that's what's about to happen, y'all. So, if you didn't know what's happening in the world right now, what's happening, with our government, I'm not saying it's right, but it's kind of in the stars, it's in our destiny. And it totally makes sense to a lot of ways. And, we've been going through a lot. And I mean, a lot of ways humans have gotten better over the years. We are better than we were 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 500 years ago, and even, 1,000 years ago. We're probably better humans generally. There's definitely some things we could learn from those times. And there's definitely things we can bring forth, and there's definitely some stuff we could let go of, right? So as we go forward in this time, it's that infamous word that we like to use that no one ever heard before about 3 or 4 years ago, and now everybody hears it all the time: unprecedented. Because the astrology is unprecedented. Like, we've never seen this before. We don't. So if you feel like there's a lot of stuff that you've never seen before happen, you're not alone. And it's kind of written in the stars. And it's like as above so below, meaning what that means, it's an astrology saying that it doesn't mean that astrology is like Mercury retrograde is causing your car to break down. No, it's more like it's a reflection. And I don't really know what the where humans came from and why we're here, except that maybe we evolved from apes, or maybe we're aliens. Who knows? Maybe we're an alien experiment. So there's so many different theories, right? Regardless of which one you think of, I invite you to understand astrology as a map to your life, as a map to what's happening in the world day to day, and what's happening in your life with relationships and people, your work in the world, and all of those kinds of things. And I don't know about you guys, but my life hasn't exactly been easy. And just just being able to say, this is what's happening, and this is meant to be happening. Help me understand this more deeply. I think is really powerful. I mean, not only does astrology validate who I am and say, Hollis, you're actually right on track. This is who you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be a total weirdo. You're supposed to be a spiritual outlier. You're supposed to be an astrologer. You're supposed to be non binary. All these things about me that I've always thought were I don't know, broken or something, they're actually who I am. So there's actually I'm just saying that if you ever wondered, who am I? Where did I come from? Why am I here? It's all in your map. It's all there. And it helps me so much. Like when I'm feeling stressed about what's going on in the news, uh, I just go watch an astrologer, because that's a deep reminder that what is happening right now is supposed to happen in a way to help us evolve as the human race. Like maybe certain things would never change if we just kept going the way we were. And maybe these things have to happen so that we, the people, will stand up and change things or something. I don't know. But I don't know what's going to happen. But I know that it's in the stars, and I know the stars dictate a certain future between now and 2028. That the next 3 years could be full of a lot of things as far as the government goes. And, you know, Saturn's going to be in, I think Saturn's in Aries for that whole time. Um, but just this year, so let's just stay focused on this year. In 2026, it's going to be one of the most intense years we've had since 2020 and probably ever. It's probably be a little bit more intense than 2020. Look at these dates we have going on this year. So on January 26th, which is like what, next Monday, right, Brit Hall? I think it's next Monday. Um, Next Monday, Neptune enters Aries. Right? And that in itself is its own, like, oh, this is our visionary. This is like the time to see things going forward. This is also a time for warriors to step forward, for maybe sacred warriors, maybe peaceful warriors, maybe really amazing people step forward to be leaders like we've never seen before, right? And just Neptune and Aries in itself is a lot, frankly. But then right after that, we have Uranus turns direct before, and it's preparing to go into Gemini. We have Saturn entering Aries, and then Saturn and Neptune on February 13th. When Saturn and Neptune are together, they will be conjunct on the world point. What does that mean? Well, why don't we talk a little bit about the world points? Hey, Brighthawk, you want to talk about those? I feel like you know those a little bit better than I do. Can you talk about them or no? Okay. You have to unmute yourself.
Okay. But it looks like you did.
Yeah, I just did.
Okay. Okay, so as I understand it, and I've learned about the world point from people like Anne Ortley, who's an amazing astrologer, highly recommend you check out her stuff on YouTube. She's got a lot available for free, and if you're interested, she has stuff that you can pay for as well. The world point is the 0 point of cardinal signs. So when you see a 0 cardinal signs, and especially Aries, because it's the beginning, it's the initiation of all the signs in the zodiac, right? We start with 0 Aries. So the fact that we have Neptune and then followed by Saturn together, they've been traveling together since last year. They're going to stay together into this year, is profound because, of course, the world point means everyone. It's the world. We're all, and the reason why everybody is looking at 2026 with such big eyes is because it's all the outer planets changing signs, which is huge for everyone. Remember, the outer planets, they're big, they're slow, and they have this wah, 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 wah. Do you like that one? There you go. So my technical astrology speak. So the world point is very, very important. And sometimes when we're looking at people's charts and say, for example, they're maybe an actor or something like that, and they want to know, are they going to make it? If they have placements on or around the world point, so 29, 0, or 1, those are significant placements. These are people that can become very well known for things in their lives. And of course, I'm talking about all the cardinal signs have that 0 world point. So Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. So those are all world points. And the fact that we're looking at two major giants, Neptune and Saturn, is a big deal. It's a big deal. And we're all kind of like, I'm not sure what exactly it means, but it means it's a big deal for sure. Big things are, we already all know it. I can't even watch the news anymore. I make it about 5 minutes before I'm like, oh my God. And I just have to change the channel because it's just not good for me. I know I read more than I can listen and watch because it's too toxic. So Neptune is all about visions and dreams and what's the vision we have about the world? What's the dream that we have? And the fact that it's moving out of its rulership in Pisces into Aries, which is fire, 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 right? And of course, Saturn, which is all about the structure, all about the man, all about the infrastructure, authority. And now we put it in a fire sign. It's a lot of energy. And then, of course, throw into that, right in the middle of that, a Mercury retrograde, and in the last half of February. And then we have the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse. And then, if that's not enough, but wait, there's more. The nodes, we talk about the nodes, the lunar nodes are going to move out of Virgo Pisces into Leo and Aquarius. Of course, they move backwards, they don't move forwards. So that's a big deal as well. And the people who have placements with Aquarius and Leo are also going to feel this more intensely than the rest of the folks. So that's just a little snippet about why is 2026 feels so ominous. This is why I'm going to use a different word than unprecedented. Feels ominous, doesn't it? That's what I'm going to say. So if y'all have any questions about, well, what does this all mean for me? Astrology is very personal. It's very directed. It's very much based on your, of course, date, time, location. And when we have all three, we can precisely dial in your sun, moon, and rising and the houses and where these things will most specifically impact you. If you do not have your birth time, it's not as specific. And of course, if all of this sounds like, whew, you're talking another language, and that language, my friends, is called astrology. And it is. It takes some time to learn it, which is why we're here to answer any questions you might have, and which is why we put together a little job aid that'll help you get a free astrology chart, understand your sun, moon, and rising, and how to take advantage of this conversation so you can ask really good questions and find out what does this mean for me. Hi, Chelsea. My daughter is a Virgo sun, 0 degrees with Capricorn moon, 0 degrees. Yeah, so that's a really good example of Capricorn moon is a world point. Virgo sun at 0. But Virgo is not a cardinal sign, so it would be Libra. That would be the world point. I don't have my cheat sheets in front of me, but I believe it's fixed 15 degrees for fixed signs, the world point and the fixed signs, but I don't understand it as well. I start to get a little less comfortable, confident. Um, but yeah, when you see in the astrology, when we see things on the world point, we pay attention because it means there's significant energy there for sure. And especially when we're talking about these major movements, we're all going to feel it very concentrated the day before, the day of, the day after. When you have big planets like this, when they leave a sign and when they enter a sign is when all of us notice it the most, for sure. And then if it happens to also conjunct a placement that you might have, for sure. But that's why I put this little slide together, just so we would have a way to sort of look at the big picture all at once.
So I wanted to say, Chelsea, your daughter's Virgo sun and Capricorn moon, she's gonna be it's how old is she? Because Neptune will be in conjunct her sun. So the Neptune Saturn will be in conjunct her sun and in a square to her moon. I don't know what house
Go ahead and
those.
explain what an inconjunct is.
Yeah. I don't know what house these are in, but inconjunct is pretty hard. It can kind of be like, okay, I'll take a look at let me look at it because that's more inconjunct is a little bit like an opposition, but not quite an opposition. So there is some resolution to it, but it can sometimes be hard to grasp, but possible to grasp. It's not quite as impossible as a opposition. Now, opposition, I usually say try to find the balance because that's oh, it wants to update because that's like the best that's like the best thing you can do to get through it, Chelsea, is to is to find what's in the middle. And in conjunct, you can sometimes find a solution. It just could be really, really hard. A square is often very hard, but not impossible. And so this would allow for you to uh um so it would allow for you to try to find some sort of answer to things, but it could be difficult. I'm going to take a look at her. um, I just my software insisted on updating in this moment. um, so I don't think I know I have your chart, Chelsea, but I don't have hers. So I'm just going to put Chelsea's daughter since I don't know what her name is. um, okay, so yeah, and it's the thing is when you know your time, that makes it better. But what's going to happen is because anyone that has anything at 0 degrees um is going to feel this. They're going to feel this happen, and it could be in a good way, it could be in a hard way. um it will really depend on your own personal chart. So in our government it'll be one thing, but personally it's going to turn out to be something different. I mean, I can tell you what it's going to be because I have the United States birth chart. um yeah, so Neptune and Aries are going to, so first of all, she's got a lot coming into Aquarius right now. So I don't know how she's doing right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if she had some stuff going on. See, she was born in 2007, so she's just barely 20 years old. And so this is going to put her at, she's probably feeling a lot of what's going on in the government and with home and government and children. And maybe she's even feeling like it's kind of difficult to have a good time, difficult to have fun. She might be working on trying to have a good time, but maybe there are times that it's easier than others. It will begin to get a little bit easier this month, but I feel like she's probably also at the same time frustrated with the current government, the current system that's going on. And what I would say to what's about to happen when Neptune and Saturn move on to the world point, it's going to really affect her community and her friends. Um, she's already been affected by the system, huh? She's already had some sort of, I don't want to say damage, but I'm going to say trauma around the system, huh? So, yeah, she's very frustrated with the government. I bet she is. Um, yeah, she works a lot. So it's her senior year of high school, and she works a lot and keeps busy. She's very frustrated with the current government. I'm not surprised to hear that, Chelsea. It's gonna probably get more frustrating. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that she's protesting, that she's finding ways to fight back. She'll probably find ways to fight back. I think it will actually be good for her because it will really help give her um, and yeah, she feels very strongly about equality. She gets very emotional about what's going on. I can see that. She has Neptune retrograde. She's along with most of her generation is Neptune retrograde in Aquarius right now, and there's a whole bunch of energy moving into Aquarius. Plus, she has Chiron retrograde in Aquarius, and that's her whole generation is like that. And that's kind of like those are generational markers, which is why this generation is kind of really pissed off at the government. Hey, Brighthawk, maybe you could look at Stephanie's chart. Um, but the Neptune retrograde and the Chiron retrograde are in her home. Now, this doesn't have to be like the home, like her home with you. It could be like her community, her country. It could also have something to do with children, fun, romantic relationships, relationships in general, friendships. She could have a lot of struggles with friendships. I'm sure she's been sort of letting friendships go. I wouldn't be surprised if she's been kind of like feeling like she's about to or is already letting go of friends. She has more and more to come, and when Saturn and Neptune move to 0 degrees Aries, she's definitely gonna feel that. And for her, it's mostly gonna be about community, people around her, communication. It's gonna be about speaking. I wouldn't be surprised if she started protesting or getting involved with the government and what's happening there. Um, yeah, yep. Yeah, she's let friendships go and she's feeling out of alignment with people. Good. Yeah, I can see that that's definitely happening for her right now. It's meant to be happening. That's up in her house of friends. So she's going through some changes anyway with friends, but she may find that if she gets involved with the protests that she actually feels a lot better. That she actually feels more um like plugged in. And I'm telling you what she can do to stay. She The only way that she's gonna feel better and better through, like, January 26th when, hey, Breadhawk, you got logged out. The only way she's gonna feel better is if she really plugs in, and that's what it's gonna require. Now, she does have Mercury in Virgo. She can totally speak up. She needs to speak up. She needs to speak her mind. She, will do better to follow her, um to follow that guidance on standing up with the world, you know? She's gonna feel more and more called. I don't know if she's going to protest yet, but she would probably be happier if she did. She would feel like she was doing something instead of just martyring, instead of just feeling pissed off with what's going on. It would help her feel like she's taking part or taking the power in her own hands. It will also help her make new friends. It will help her make new connections. In general, it would help her a lot. So I'm going to suggest that she gets involved in the political protests to the best to however she sees fit. Even if she's just supporting, even if she's organizing, she'll be particularly good at organizing groups. She would also be very good at leading like certain parts of the group. There's a couple of things that she would be particularly good at. So those are some examples. And working on putting her self-care first. But I also think instead of just working, that she might feel better if she's plugged in. So she might want to consider that.
So I just want to jump in that what jumps out at me when I look at your daughter's chart is that she's having a nodal return. And so it's particularly intense for her. And you've heard us talk about stelliums where it's three or more, four or more planets in one sign. And she has an absolute stellium in Virgo with Mercury, the South Node, the Sun, Saturn, and Venus. So all of those are all amplified and really important. Her friends and relationships are going to be really important. And she's probably with her South Node so close to her Sun, she it hasn't been long between incarnations. Like her past lives she was here very recently, if that makes any sense. It's very complicated in astrology to explain it. I took a really cool class on it at the conference we went to, but all of it is to explain that the South Node speaks to our past lives. And when your South Node is really close to your Sun, it means there's there's a very little amount of time between your incarnations, between your lives, your past lives. So when I see that, I just want to mention that because there's going to be people that are going to feel really important to her, and it might even be mysterious, like totally feel called. That's also what Hollis was talking about with the inconjunctions. So if she has a strong instinct about, I'm not sure why, but I'm feeling really called to go this way or that way, she needs to always honor that instinct. She won't really have a choice. That's part of what happens with inconjuncts. You're sort of pulled in a direction and you're like, this is happening. And that's what's happening. Okay. So thanks for letting me weigh in there. And I don't have a location for Stephanie. So if you want me to go farther with creating your chart, please add your location, Stephanie Frontiero. Okay.
And the other thing I would say, Chelsea, about your daughter is that she has a T square pointing at her south node.
Squares. Yeah.
So it makes me wonder about money, how she spends money. She has Jupiter in the second house. So um, Stephanie was born in Salem, Massachusetts. Um, it just makes me think about money, how she makes money, how she spends money. And sometimes that could be, it's in a square to Mars and Gemini. It's actually in opposition, and they're both in a square to the South Node in Virgo. This makes me think about her friends influencing her, who she's influenced by, and how this influences what she spends her money on and what she decides to do. And with Mars and Gemini, this can be in the eighth house, can be kind of having lots of different interests in a lot of different directions. And it can be kind of hard to nail down sometimes. And Mars and Gemini can also kind of flip its lid all of a sudden. Um, it can also lead to other things such as exposure to like toxic men in sexual situations that maybe she didn't want to be in. So, yeah. Yeah, I bet she does make it. I bet she does. She'll be pretty lucky in that department. You can let her know that money will always come to her when she tries. If she puts forth any effort, she'll always make it. So she needs to know that. She'll always have the resources that she needs because I bet she doesn't always feel that way. And she might have a little bit of a self worth issue if she had any childhood trauma, especially any kind of sexual assault or anything like that with a toxic male when she was a child. If she had anything like that, she might want to check in on her self worth. It could create some self worth issues. Um, and it just could keep her from her destiny and things like that. So if she wants an area to focus on, I would work on her self-worth. Like what she thinks she's worthy of, what she thinks she's um especially if she had any kind of like exposure to toxic men, for instance, as a young person. Sometimes being molested as a child or um not that that's your fault, Chelsea, because that stuff just kind of happens. And sometimes we don't know that it even happened. So I would just talk to her a little bit about self worth and self care. And being a Libra rising, there could be times that she doesn't. Okay, bio dad was toxic. What did I say? See, it's in the chart. It's in the chart. I can see that she had a toxic father. Okay. I can see that she had toxic men in her life. Okay. So she might need to work on her self worth. I would get her to go on travel retreats about self worth to work on her values, about how she values herself. That's what I would send her doing until her Saturn returns. And her Saturn returns is not till she's 27. So it's coming up, but it's not there yet. She still has another, 6, 7 years to go. So I would tell her for the next 6, 7 years to focus on developing self worth as much as possible. Okay. So that's the biggest advice I would give her at this time. And for right now, I would also focus on what she can offer um, with the government and stuff, because I know that that's also a huge wound for her. Okay. All right. Did you get Stephanie's chart up, Bright Hawk? Okay, you're muted. Hold on. There you go. No, you got to unmute yourself.
Got it. Okay. Hi, Carrie. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so Stephanie, I've got your birthday, August 31st. I like numbers. I thought it was cool that you were born at 8:31 on 8:31. Did you know that? 8:31, 8:31? I'm sure you did. I was born at 20 to 12 on 12:20. So there I have a thing with numbers. I think they sort of speak a magical language. It's part of what makes astrology work that way too. So Stephanie, you have a beautiful chart. Let's start with, oh my goodness. You have a grand trine in water, which makes me wonder if you are a healer, because at the top of your chart, at the very top of the zenith of your chart, you have Mars conjunct the moon in Cancer, its rulership. So family's got to be important to you if you're a moon in Cancer, because that's what Cancers value. It also tells me that you're probably deeper and more sensitive than people realize, that you're probably intellectually enjoy being, intellectual. This is a grand trine in water. So you have the Mars and moon on one end. Then we have Jupiter, nothing small there. Jupiter and the North Node is close, but not super close. They're 8 degrees apart. But in any case, Jupiter amplifies everything. And so this is in Scorpio. So Jupiter in Scorpio, with the other part of the triangle being Saturn in Pisces, which Saturn in Pisces is opposite your moon and Saturn is retrograde. And what I have seen before of people who have Saturn retrograde, especially Saturn in Pisces, which is already sandcastles, right? Saturn is all about structure. And when it's in a water sign, it rules Capricorn normally. But when it's in Pisces, and that means you just recently had a Saturn return, so did I. Pisces is water. It's boundless. It's the opposite of all the structural things that Saturn sort of stands for. So the sandcastle metaphor really is apt. When Saturn is retrograde, I've seen people sort of struggle with career focus. Tell me if any of these things are true for you. If you're feeling like, yeah, this is true, and you're still here, by the way. Let me know if you're still here, Stephanie. Otherwise, I should just shut up. uh, I don't want to just go on and on if there's no point. So beautiful grand trine. Then you have an almost second grand trine in Earth with the South Node, Chiron in Virgo, and pointing down at Neptune conjunct Uranus in Capricorn. So you have a lot of powerful conjunctions in your chart. You have a lot of easy, blessed, beautiful trining energy. Stephanie, yes, all that resonates. Okay, good. So the thing to remember when you have tons of trines and strong, powerful trines like you do is that you have been blessed. Do not squander your blessings. Realize that not everyone has it this easy. There's flow in your life, and you want to lean into that flow because you have some beautiful blessings in your chart with these grand trines. The one that worries me is your Sun Saturn opposition, mostly because your Saturn is retrograde, and so that can make career a little challenging. The big event that we keep talking about, all of this energy in Aquarius, lands in your 4th and 5th house. So right now it's conjuncting your Neptune Uranus stuff in Capricorn and passing over that, and actually most of it's already passed over that in Capricorn. So if it's felt super intense, could be why with those placements. And yeah, so your fourth and fifth house, Hollis, help me out. That's about family. That's about your habits, your practices, your
So the fourth house is family, home, parents. And the fifth house is children, romantic relationships, fun, and creative endeavors. So always think of the fourth house as home, including your childhood home. So then you can come to of course, that leads to your parents. Of course, when you're older, that leads to the house you live in now. This also leads to like your home, like the country that you live in. And then the fifth house would be like fun, right? And so then that's where we get to children, romantic relationships, and creative endeavors, right? Okay. Because those are all fun.
sorry, for all of us. I send you lots of love and compassion. It should start to get easier. Saturn's going to leave Pisces in just a couple of more weeks, and that'll help alleviate some of that energy. Um, your chart, your Saturn and Neptune crossing over into Aries is going to be right on your descendant, which is relationships. It's all about relationships right there. And yeah, no doubt it all feels very intense. I glad you have some beautiful trining energy, and health effects work regularly. Haven't been able to settle on a career or interest with all the ups and downs. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I am not surprised. And you have the North Node right on Saturn right now. So try to listen to that inner wisdom of what lights you up, what makes you feel like I'm here for a purpose, I'm here for a reason, I make contributions in a variety of ways in my life. This is how I know I'm on track. And this is complicated. What we're talking about, if you want to get a reading, highly recommend booking a reading with Hollis in particular. You always can book a reading with me, but Hollis is just, come on, way more experienced. And I would just really recommend, gifting yourself that insight, because when you're going through tough times and you're having a hard time seeing, like, but I don't know which way to go, having a reading, having somebody else go, oh, have you been thinking about this? Oh, yeah, something like that. So hopefully that helps. And just try to give you a little bit of insight in the moment. Thanks for trusting us and sharing with us your information.
So I wanted to point out, Carrie, I have your chart up. I was looking at your chart, and I mean, we've had a lot of intense energy go through these transits. Some stuff has probably been a little bit intense for you. What I'm a little bit worried about what's to come, because I mean, you have the South Node in Virgo, so there's been a lot of things that you've had to let go of, maybe with legal matters, um or learning or higher learning. Maybe there's even like some learning stuff that you've had to let go of. I don't know, maybe whatever it is, there's been some things that you've had to move past, or um just maybe let go of altogether. And then But what's about to happen is the South Node, you have the South Node in Aquarius. So I'm just going to give you a little heads up, Carrie, that this year, you could start to experience some intensity build. And actually, this week, right now, is sort of like a preview of what's to come. Um, yeah, a lot of intense feelings and a lot of my past came up I had to deal with. I bet. I bet. So now, Carrie, what's about to happen is the South Node is going to move into your eighth house into Leo this year in 2026. And the North Node is going to move into Aquarius. And you have the South Node in Aquarius. So that healing is not over. It's going to become more and more profound. And I think that you're probably going to be experiencing some healing around sort of like our generation, our culture, our country, particularly what's happening like our culture right now, and even has been recently, has been pretty oppressive to some people. So I don't want you to be nervous. I'd rather you be prepared. So I don't want you to think that, I just think that there's going to be some stuff about your own ego, about your own feelings, about your relationships with others, um, those kinds of things. You're really going to, yeah, I bet. So Carrie is saying that she's an empath and everything going on is draining. Well, most of us are empathic. I'm just going to say that. Some people like to, some people really get stuck on being an empath, and just be careful what you tell yourself. Just because you're an empath, so am I, but it doesn't mean that everything that's happening has to ruin your day or exhaust you or whatever. But it probably will until you plug in a way that helps you feel more empowered. So, again, I would also empower you to step forward, to step up, in regards to your values and what you value. Those kinds of things would be very empowering for you, especially, because, relationships and things like that, you're a Cancer moon, so you're very, very sensitive. You're also a Sagittarius rising and Neptune's on your ascendant. You're a great visionary and you're an amazing psychic, and you have a lot of skills and things that you could offer the current movement. So instead of sitting back and hiding, it would actually be better for you to offer your visionary skills, offer maybe some organization or leadership skills, maybe even offer. Some deep spiritual sort of leadership in a way. Like, even if you just help people get in touch with how they're feeling, you're quite capable of putting up boundaries when you need to. You just have to believe in yourself. And that's the problem with some people's belief about being an empath. Um, it's like we tell ourselves that because we're an empath, we can't do this or that, right? And it would be better if we said, well, I am empathic and I am also strong and capable. And this, just because you're empathic doesn't mean that you have to take in that you take in other people's emotions you can control that. You can totally learn to control the empathy that you feel. Um Yeah, okay. So Carrie said, I have no faith in myself and I'm trying to learn to squash that. Well, don't squash it. Instead, empower it. Instead, make it stand up. Instead, give yourself some self-love. Instead, change your language. Yeah, I can see that you're pretty savage. Um, yeah, and so it's not that you lost it, it's just that it's buried underneath. And I feel like this coming year, you're really going to find it, and it might be because there's a catalyst of what's happening in our world might just piss you off one last time and you just can't stand it anymore and you just have to get out there. So, and the grief and trauma doesn't have to own you. It can actually make you stronger if you allow it. And let me just make some suggestions that maybe you try some sort of martial art. So this would be like yoga, tai chi, qigong, anything like that. Even things like taekwondo and things like that. These are martial arts. They really help heal grief and trauma because grief is trauma, frankly. And so, what can happen is if you heal those things, you can feel more empowered because then you can have more control. And although you will always remember everything that's happened to you, you'll have more choice in sort of how you react to those things because that's pretty much what like yoga and tai chi and qigong and all those martial arts. And, even doing some of those martial arts can empower you to feel like you can protect yourself, to help you feel stronger, to help you feel more like warrior or whatever you need. And I think that that in itself is very powerful. And I feel like you are quite capable of that. So I just want to encourage you to try it. That would be my suggestion is that you tap into doing yoga, doing whatever it is that calls to you, okay? Carrie, I really feel like this is going to help you. I mean, that's what I can give you with a quick insight into your chart. A quick look at your chart right away tells me that this would be a good time for you to do that. And it could be a lifetime practice. I've been doing yoga for 20 years and all the grief and trauma that I've been through, which is horrific. Like if you go read my book, you'll be like, "Holy shit, Hollis, you have been through some shit." And I'll be like, "Yeah." So, I mean, I have a book. It's called Divine Androgen. It's about a sacred path for gender variant people, but the first half of it is my story, particularly in relation to gender. But it has a lot of the trauma that I suffered. And so, what I would suggest is that you do the yoga because the yoga is scientifically proven to heal trauma. And our government's just too screwed up to prescribe it. They prescribe it in other countries, in Dutch countries, in Norway, Finland, Germany, countries like that. If you go to the doctor and New Zealand, if you tell them that you suffer from trauma, that's what they do. They prescribe yoga. Do you know that? They don't prescribe medications. They prescribe yoga because yoga can heal it. And that's what you need to know. Whether you do it with your friends or you do it alone or a mixture of both, it doesn't matter what kind. What matters is that you breathe and move your body together. It will bring you more present in your body and it will help you open your third eye and get connected to who you truly are. And that's the power of any martial art, okay? Whether it's yoga or taekwondo or tai chi or qigong, it doesn't matter what it is. They're all the same. In my book, they're all the same, okay? Hi, Kiki Law. Gracious greetings to you too, my friend. Good to see you again. So, my friends, there's a lot going on in Aquarius this week. I hope you take this time to take a look at what's happening with We the People. Notice that the We the People, there's a huge protest tomorrow all over the country. This is your opportunity to um, take a step out, take a look. It's called a walkout. We're all walking out tomorrow. We're going to try not to engage in certain activities. And we're speaking up for freeing America. So thank you so much. Um, and big love back to you, Carrie. And I hope that you guys really appreciate this and take it to heart and consider getting plugged in with the protest tomorrow, because you know what? There's no better cure to a frustration with what's happening in the government than a protest. I'm just going to say, if you go out and protest, it's the best thing I can do. I know every time I feel a little bit better. You don't have to be in the front lines. You don't have to put yourself in danger. You can just be one more head out there on the streets. And frankly, they do count heads. They do figure out how many people are out there. And the more people that are out there, the more likely we are to get this man out of power. So if that's something that's important to you, I want to suggest that you get out there and protest. Look it up. I think it's under the 5050501 movement. So get yourself out there. Get yourself out there. It would help you feel better. Okay? And check it out. Look at all this energy moving into Aquarius. We the people. This is the week for it, my friends. We the people. That's Aquarius for you. Good night.
Thanks so much for listening. Hope you check out the reels we did for the horoscopes and the YouTube video we did for the whole week so you know how this all unfolds. Thank you so much.
I put the link in the comments to our forecast.
Great. Take care. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soul Astrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. Many thanks. Have a great week.